morning tip.
Good afternoon. It is August 22nd, 2019. You're listening to A Little Column A, A Little Column B, hosted by Will Leanos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? I got some questions that I think only the podcast can help answer. Yesterday, buddy sends me a text, says, "Oh man, I really got some decisions to make." And he sends me a picture. It's a picture. He's got a Pumpkinhead beer. He's got an Oktoberfest beer. Now, I did draft my first fantasy team last week. It's like week 0, people are calling it, of college football. So we're on the cusp of fall, but we are not at fall yet. It's too early for fall beers, right? He's jumped the gun, and if he has, how much has he jumped the gun by?
Well, do you actually think he jumped the gun, or do you think he's dipping into last year's batch? Because I sympathize for both of these people who one's being lied to and one's being tricked. He's probably drinking last year's stuff. You think anyone's actually getting any fresh stuff? It's just too early. It's way too soon.
Oh no, this is the new stuff. He found it.
What do you mean you found it? How could it be ready? It's not.
That's what I mean. He's got a connection, and you know but I think it's too early. I think similar to when you get that first summer beer and it's hot out and you get that summer beer and it's refreshing. You don't want that same taste in the fall, and it's different, and it's too hot. You gotta at least experience a little bit of cold, and there's gotta be a little bit of football. But then I was kind of thinking about it, and I was very much had a fall in my head of the leaves are changing. There's a certain crispness to the air. If you're from New England or you live in New England, you know what I'm talking about. But then started to think about it. It's like, oh, you are in San Diego, so are the fall beers as much of a thing? I mean, it does get a little cooler, but is it the same thing, or is it not as much of a thing?
It's really kind of hard to give you a straight answer because it's such a melting pot of people. Like, a lot of the people I already know out here are from the East Coast, and I think that they're really just bringing that kind of, I guess, culture from where they grew up and what they're used to here. I don't think it was necessarily here before that. It is a little bit warmer. It is a lot heavier, I will say that. But, San Diego has a bunch of breweries, so I don't really think heavy beer is as much of an issue all year. I mean, a lot of these IPAs and a lot of these craft beers that are, coming from all these local small breweries are very heavy as well. So I don't know if I can give you quite the straight answer. I generally will wait for October for my Oktoberfest, specifically the Sam Adams ones. I'll try some of the other ones. I'm not as crazy about the pumpkin flavored stuff. I think we've talked about that on the podcast before. But I agree, it's way too early. Way too early. I gotta get at least past Labor Day. I think that's school needs to be in session. I think that's fair. That's fair enough, right?
I can't be sweaty drinking an Oktoberfest. I can be a little sweaty drinking some summer shandy, anything summer related. I'm cool with that, but I can't. Can't be sweaty. Can't be uncomfortable. It's too early. All right, so we're in agreement. Awesome.
Well, the other thing is, though, I hate to make rules for others. I don't think, if you want to enjoy something and you have access to it and it's making you happy, I mean, who am I to tell you no? I mean, if that's what you want to do, go for it and do that. I just don't think. I don't think I think the setting. All right, that there's certain beers that can be enjoyed in the right setting, and I think that's what we're really trying to get across, is that you will enjoy this beer 10 times more if you have it in the fall on a nice, crisp, colder day than on a super hot, sweaty summer night. I don't think
I see what you're saying about enjoying yourself, but I think if we had gone along more the lines of, it was a Wednesday night and you were having a beer, and that would be more judgy McJudgerson kind of thing. But you could just go with a different kind of beer. There's such a wide variety. So I think that's more of my issue. And like you said, a time and a place, and we're not at the time or the place yet.
Well, actually, speaking of judgment, are you keeping up with all this chicken sandwich battles that are suddenly going on? I don't know how this suddenly just sparks and catches fire like this, but I feel like all over my social media is this Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes, which today Wendy's brought up as well. Now it's kind of versus them. I don't even know if they're really in the conversation, but have you been keeping up with all this chicken sandwich battles that are kind of taking over the world over the past 24 hours?
From afar. One of those internet things that just spills all over all the social media, and it's kind of impossible to avoid. But definitely at arm's length. I haven't participated.
Do you have a favorite chicken sandwich spot?
Maybe that's why. I guess I would say no.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah. Well, you're out of the conversation then. You're missing out. But it's funny that there's certain things that will get an outrage out of people where they feel very strongly and need to disagree and make sure their opinion is, clearly heard, and like they're gonna make this big old spiel and a big deal over this. And it's funny that something as simple as a chicken sandwich right now, it feels like it's like a real division split right now over you're this side, you're that side. I'm shocked by this, of the kind of the passion that is being supported through fast food chicken sandwiches. Um, I don't know how do things like this really? Is this all scripted? Do you think these two companies are kind of in cahoots together about this? Like, all attention is good attention, right?
I think all attention is good attention, especially here where it's just a harmless argument. Like no one really gets hurt. I think a lot of times there's always got to be a good guy and a bad guy. Where this is just fun for them. I don't know if it goes as far as they orchestrated it. That sounds like they really have their act together, which I'm just not sure that they do. I think they just might have lucked out, and it's just the end of the summer, not a ton's going on, and just some tweets at the right time. They just tipped, and they had some nice back and forth from the company Twitter accounts, which is always fun.
Which were in good taste as well.
Company Twitter accounts act like people. It's just usually that's pretty funny, and especially if it's done correctly. But what side are you on?
I'll be honest. I haven't had Popeyes in a while, so like I feel like I need to give them a chance. I'd say I have Chick-fil-A fairly regularly. I would also argue that the best Chick-fil-A sandwich is the breakfast sandwich. You got to get it on the biscuit. It's they don't serve breakfast all day, unlike I guess other fast food chains. But so if you get there early, I would recommend the sandwich like a lot more. But it's a really good chicken sandwich to begin with. I would have to try the Popeyes one before really. I feel confident I'm still gonna like the Chick-fil-A one, but I have not tried the Popeyes one. I haven't had Popeyes in general in a while, so I'm just kind of shocked that Chick-fil-A is such on my radar and Popeyes isn't, that this is suddenly like a debate. So it's got my attention in that I've kind of put Popeyes on the back burner, and maybe it shouldn't have been there. So I'll give it a shot. I'm big supporter of Chick-fil-A though, in their food. Maybe not in their Sunday practices, but that's a whole other story. It's funny that I feel like that would have been the card to play if I was Popeyes. I really wanted to kind of hit them where it hurt, of like, oh, well, come get our sandwich on a Sunday. I was kind of almost tastefully applaud both the sides for not really going there or really taking any deep shots at one another. I think everything's kind of been in good fun.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. Is you could have easily gone there and gone for like a kill shot, but then it's like, well, now this is over. Now this is political. Now this is serious, and everyone, I think, would have kind of walked away, or at least the majority of people would have been like, oh no, I was here for some fun. This got serious real quick. This is just sandwiches. No, I'm done.
But I'll tell you what. Before next podcast, we'll follow up. Maybe I'll try some Popeyes. You can get out there and try too. And if any of the listeners have any opinions on where they think the best Chick-fil-A or Chick sandwiches or wherever anything of that stuff is, feel free to let us know. You can check us out on the website lcalcb.com, as well as Zach's Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Yeah, lots of good stuff on there. You can keep up to date with what Zach's doing. What are you doing these days? What are we watching?
Watching Vikings. I'm on the last season of Vikings. Have you ever seen it?
I have not seen Vikings.
I think this might be just a problem with the general binging kind of culture, where if this was spread out weekly and I only got like a taste of it, once in a while, I think I'd enjoy it more. There's a ton of medieval fighting, and at first you're just totally, or at least me, I was like just totally on board. It's got like some really big battle scenes, some Lord of the Rings type stuff going on. I'm just, oh man, this is awesome. But when you just do it over and over and over again, it's just kind of like continually having dessert over and over and over again, where it's like, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah, they're fighting again. Like, I guess this is a little bit different. Oh, this guy betrayed this guy. Okay, well, yeah, I guess we gotta have a big battle for that. So I think I might have just hurt myself coming to the party a little late. But overall, definitely fun. History Channel, so a little bit different, but definitely enjoyable.
Interesting. History Channel. Coming up with their own content. I think we might have mentioned that before. I mean, that'd be worth checking out. Anything that it's still on. Is it still on the air, or is this all wrapped up?
I think there's one season left. I think they're gonna go for a season six. Not positive on that. Currently, the whole series is on Hulu, so easily accessible, which is always nice.
Sweet. Well, you can get more up to date stuff at Zach's Twitter, which again is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
yeah, lots of stuff. So while we're on the I guess the debate of television here, it's kind of hard to miss this Spider-Man controversy with the ongoing battle between Sony and Disney Marvel. Yesterday it was announced. I want to say prematurely announced as well. I don't think this is a done deal yet. That Spider-Man will be leaving the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which we'll refer to as MCU from now on. I feel like there's so many acronyms in all of these articles. So no, he will not be in the MCU going forward, and it looks like Sony will be making their own style of their own movies outside of this little cinematic universe. And it looks like it will include a follow up with the Venom movie, which they may have their own movies together or just featuring one another. Seems to be that is the direction they're leaning towards. Now, there's a lot of funny intertwined kind of roots here. So Disney just bought Fox, right? We talked all about that. They just acquired this huge, massive, all this. And Kevin Feige has kind of been the guy that's been leading the way with Spider-Man. And I think the Spider-Man might be some of my favorite movies, and they might have made the most money of the superhero movies in Marvel. So there's a lot of good stuff going on with all that, and Kevin Feige has a lot to do with it. Apparently, Kevin Feige has been kind of attached to all of the newly acquired Fox movies right now. So he's going to be in charge of the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool. And I guess part of some of the debate was he wanted to work on Spider-Man, and Sony let them kind of do it the last couple times. There was a certain split agreement they had, and that fell apart in the kind of the contract debates right now. But anyways, what the big debate, really, the big problem, the big holdup with everything is that they weren't willing to pay Kevin Feige what he's worth now, because Sony said, well, we don't need him. We can just make it on our own. Spider-Man just made over $1 million. This is the most money Sony's ever made off of any movie ever, was for that last movie that they allowed Marvel to make. This is all just crazy. I don't know exactly how to keep track of all of it, but really at the end of the day, I think everything that's been leaked right now is all part of the ongoing negotiations. I think within a year or so, all of this will be fixed, and we'll have Spider-Man back in the Marvel Universe, and there really won't be anything to worry about. And if we don't get that, we'll at least get some Venom movies, which I suppose is better than no Spider-Man. But are you okay to live in a world where Spider-Man just kind of plucked right out of this MCU, and when we have to go into this future without him? After they just killed off Iron Man, I feel like the timing of this handoff was perfect, and now this happens. Are you all right with this, or are you outraged? What is there really a side to be on?
Well, I'm an adult, so yes, I will be able to live with Spider-Man not being part of the Marvel universe. He wasn't a part of it for a while anyway. But do you think that this is for real, or this is just a negotiating tactic?
I think it's all still negotiating, and I have even more details on this. So the cartoon, Into the Spider-Verse that came out, that won, I think that won an award last year too. Awesome movie. The animation, it was fantastic. So apparently Disney Marvel owns the rights to animated Spider-Man. So they have the rights to the video games, and they had the right to that movie, of which they gave the rights to Sony to make the animated movie. So Sony made that movie, the cartoon, in which they still had to negotiate the animated rights with Disney. So they've already clearly done business as recent of last year. So I think that gives us at least some hope that they should be able to figure this all out. Now, whether certain guys will be attached to it, it'll have the same production team or maybe the same actors, I don't know. That's where things kind of get a little bit sloppy, but I don't think this isn't done yet. I don't think, I'm not really believing in any of these stories. I think there's too much there. There's way too much business being done in between with one another for this to be the nope, we're going home, we're taking our Spider-Man and you can't have him. I don't think that's how this ends. So I don't think it'll be over. I wouldn't worry too much. I think there's a million things we could talk about. Would you be excited to have the Spider-Man in the Venom movies? Did you see Venom?
Didn't see Venom.
I did see Venom. I really can't recommend you see Venom. It wasn't that great of a movie. But there's some good stuff in there. I guess that's one of the better Spider-Man villains. I'd rather that than no Spider-Man. I think that's the real loss is if we miss out on all Spider-Man. Do you have any particular what's your value on the current Spider-Man on Holland playing it? Like, do you care if he gives us another one, or you just it's another guy, whatever? I think a lot of people are happy with kind of the boyish, childish charm that he's kind of had going with this. That it felt like a your local neighborhood Spider-Man, and he's a high schooler. He's not just a full grown adult.
I think that he's doing a great job. I like how he plays Spider-Man. It just seems like there's too much money at stake here for, like you said, to take your Spider-Man and go home. As well as what I thought was interesting is I was wondering if Sony overplayed their hand when this came out, thinking, oh, people will blame Marvel and put the pressure on Marvel, on Disney, saying, hey, we need Spider-Man. And they thought, oh, then Disney will come crawling back to us and say, oh, no, like, okay, like, we're willing to pay more. But pretty much across the board, I haven't seen anyone blame Disney and the MCU. It's all been the blame on Sony for taking it away. Has that been what you've been seeing?
For the most part, I think that's everyone's understanding, and that's mostly just because these Marvel movies, everybody's been very happy with. I don't think every Sony movie everyone has been happy with at all. I mean, even the latest Venom movie that they're going to try and pair the Spider-Man with wasn't very good. It did all right in the box office. It still made money. I think that's the harder part with all of this is that these movies are still making money. All right, Disney's going to have their best summer ever with all these Disney remakes, the live-action ones with Aladdin and Lion King. They're going to make more money this year than they've ever made before in the box office. But if you go back and look at it, it's funny that Disney's going to make all this money, and they're really only the good movies they're making are the Superman movies or superhero movies. All the other movies are kind of garbage, which is what Sony, I feel like, has been doing. They've been attaching big names, remaking certain things, and just making as much money as possible, not really caring what their product actually is. I think that's everyone's biggest fear, is that this Marvel universe has taken some value into everything and actually made a genuinely good movie. For all of these, I think the two Spider-Man standalones are great movies. I don't think you need Avenger movies to make that any better. I think those are just really good movies to begin with. But there's so much into all this. I feel very attached to the Spider-Man, though. I would be disappointed to see him lose, just left out like that. I don't think that'll be a good way to go out. But at the end of the day, all these companies are still going to make a lot of money. They're still going to make so much money. And
they sure are.
I guess that's probably what more people should be upset about, is that I think they're upset that they don't have any control over this, and this is because we keep paying to go do all this. Like, if we stopped, like, if nobody went to Venom and Venom didn't make any money, I think this wouldn't be a problem at all. And it's like, hey, make a better movie, and then maybe you can get the better superheroes.
You're talking about reboots and trying to bring back old things. Did you see they're coming out with a new Matrix?
Matrix 4 is coming out, and I heard they're going to relaunch the original Matrix back into theaters before that at some point.
To kind of get people excited?
Yeah, I can't remember when. I want to say that's actually happening soon, that they're going to do a Matrix into select theaters. I don't know, maybe it was like digitally it's got to be like digitally remastered at something at this point, right? Like but yeah, I don't know.
I imagine they'd spruce it up.
I've only seen the first Matrix. And it was recent. It was like it was last year. So
yeah, you held out on that for a while.
Well, I don't want to say it was a bad movie because it wasn't, but in terms of the appreciation to have at it, seeing it in 2018, it's not gonna have that same wow factor that I think everyone
20 years late to the party.
Yeah, that everyone got years ago when it was like, whoa, look at these special effects, look at this live action, that's this directing, the camera angles, all
we'd never
that.
seen before.
Yeah, the lighting, and then it had a really good story to begin with, some decent acting, some memorable actors that have gone on to do very well. But I didn't see anything after the first one. And from my understanding, I really wasn't missing out on much. Like, nobody's ever said, like, oh, you didn't see the second or third one. It's always I got mocked for really not seeing the first one. Have you seen the other ones? Have you seen, there's 2 and 3?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know there's a third one.
Yeah, a lot of hate for the third one. I enjoyed the ride. I saw it when I was younger, uh, and I could see the merits on not enjoying it, but I I thought it was fun. I thought that again, I think watching it 20 years later, it's not exactly, a little less than 20 years later. You, there's a lot of stuff that other movies stole from the Matrix. So you watch the Matrix now, and in your head, it's just, oh well, I've seen that 50 times. Where before it was, oh, these guys are having a kung fu fight on top of an 18 wheeler that's like flying down the highway. It's like this looks real. Like, this looks very legit. So it was just a different time. It was the first time you were kind of seeing stuff like that. Where now it's much more common, especially with how CGI has just gotten better and better. It's not as out of place or just doesn't really jump out at you as it used to.
So, are you excited for the fourth one then?
I'm definitely interested bringing back Keanu Reeves and bringing back I don't know her name, but the woman. So it's not just a action movie that they're slapping the Matrix on. It's like, okay, you bring it back Neo. All right, come up with a good storyline. So same same director, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll be interested to watch that. It's definitely going to be it's already on the list to go see.
What'll be funny is to see if they really try to like almost revolutionize, some sort of directorial special effect again. Like, all right, it's years later. They really surprised everybody with this kind of move at this time, and now it's years later. Let's what else can we show the world? What else can we kind of how can we reinvent this wheel one more time? I think that would be something extremely exciting about this movie being made now. Is that they're going to have access to things I don't think they had anything like they weren't even possible then.
That would definitely be cool if they came in and didn't just go with, okay, here's what we got now. Of, oh no, we're gonna make a giant leap forward again. So I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
I don't think they have any choice. I don't see. I wouldn't come back with anything else because I haven't heard very good things about the second and third movie. I don't know if everyone's gonna fall for the cash grab of the fourth one if it isn't somewhat decent or brings some sort of actual special effects that are different than the other movies to separate it. I think we're gonna fall for it. It's been a while. Like I don't know how much of a cult following all these movies gain over time. Like the re-release of Top Gun. Like, are kids these days excited about that, or is that specifically targeted to an older audience?
Targeted to an older audience that's got money.
Okay, maybe that's the good point there. But if the Top Gun was just released today, though, do you think would it do the same? Would young people still like it? If it was just a whole bunch of badass.
What are you talking about? It's about a pilot that flies fighter jets and is awesome and rides a motorcycle. What's not to like about that?
I just
there's a love interest. That's the movie. Boom, slap it all together.
All right. Maybe I'm one of the few haters that really wasn't sold on Top Gun. It wasn't that good of a movie.
What?
And seeing it in today's day,
I don't even know what to say to that.
And seeing it in today's day and age, I don't think you get the same wow factor. I think if it was being remade, yeah, it would look cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. Again, I saw this movie. I didn't see it. I saw it recently, within the past couple of years, and this didn't have the same sort of, I guess, element of surprise.
Everybody's all into superhero movies. This is it's kind of a superhero movie. It's this super good pilot that's flying fighter jets.
Yeah, well, it feels like a Sony superhero movie. All right, it feels like a Sony one, which is a bad one if you didn't understand anything I just said.
Well, that's like Tom Cruise at like the peak of his powers, man.
I like Tom Cruise too. I disagree with that as well. I don't think that's Tom Cruise at his peak at all.
What's Tom Cruise at his peak?
I don't know. I will still hold out to say that Tom Cruise could still have another peak because he does these peaks and valleys things, man. He comes out of nowhere with some movies. He's just
Top Gun 2.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm holding out. I'm waiting for Tom Cruise to peak in Top Gun 2 in 2020.
Yeah, get ready.
I don't even know what I was talking about now that we've got onto this Top Gun talk.
You were saying that you didn't think that Top Gun would play in 2019 because apparently kids these days don't like action stars that fly fighter jets and date beautiful women. That's what you said, and ride motorcycles.
Yeah, exactly. Those were my exact words. That's that. This is all a movie
That's
takes.
what I
This is all a
heard.
movie needs. This is all every movie ever needs. Is a
I
couple of
mean,
stuff. It's basically
an
Fast and
erotic
Furious.
volleyball scene thrown in there for just for flair. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for out of a movie.
It wasn't that good of a movie. You'd be lying. It's not that good of a movie. You're lying right now if you think that's a great movie.
I think that you are going to run up against a bunch of people here that do not agree.
It's it's like a Fast and Furious movie. That's fine. It's not.
And
It's
do you know how
cheap.
much money? Do you know how much money that the Fast and Furious franchise is making right now?
It's cheap action
They're
movies.
the ones besides it's them. It's them in the Marvel movies that are just printing money.
It's like buying. It's like cheap jokes, man. That's all it is. It's cheap action. That's all it is.
Cheap action. Cheap act. What does that even mean? The Fast and the Furious just doesn't make sense because those are wildly successful.
Yeah, well, they're not real. They're they might as well be cartoons. I'd almost think it would be better if they were cartoons.
You were just the one that was just all about Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, Spider-Man's an actual comic. There's
That
an
is
actual
a cartoon,
and there's way more stories, and it's a lot better. It's a better movie. All right, there's actual character developments in it. There's actual plots. There's actual things that can go wrong. there's developmental points where people have to overcome certain things. All right, not just fly out of a plane or jump over a car.
What about the Russians? The Russians are real. Venom's not real.
Okay, I think you're making more of my point than your own point of this.
Thanos isn't real. Oh, they got a character development. You gotta overcome your rival. You gotta come together. You gotta overcome the death of your best friend. What are you talking about?
No, Top
Gun. It's one of the most
Gun
gut-wrenching deaths in a movie.
Incomplete movie. It's not a complete movie. No way.
What in the world?
I'm amazed.
Please,
I'm amazed that
fans,
I'm amazed
get a
that
hold of Will.
I'm amazed that somebody who has more or less dedicated one of his main hobbies to being watching film and entertainment to being such a diehard Top Gun fan. I just didn't think it was that good of a movie. I thought this was something we weren't supposed to talk about openly, but we all kind of knew deep down that this is just not that great of a movie.
I think that you're mistaken.
Wow, I feel mistaken. I thought for sure this is something you would agree with, especially having an experience with actual good movies and knowing what a good movie is and more or less understanding my taste and your taste in movies.
Like the Spider-Man, yeah, I gotcha.
The Spider-Man was significantly better of a movie. The last Spider-Man that just came out, the last two? I know the Avenger movies I can get, those are a little ridiculous, all right? But I just thought these movies did right to the comics. I thought that was very authentic, and I thought they had good stories, and every other part of it had more elements to the movie.
Authentic. There's a kid dressed up like a spider that's flying through New York City. How is that authentic?
Your authenticity is compared to the original story. There is no original Top Gun.
Oh God. It happened. It's the Cold War. It's real life. It was the 80s.
All right, but
He's protecting the United States. He's protecting freedom.
You're impossible to argue with right now because it amazes me that we have such a disconnect on this. You're just poking a bear that you agree with. You're scared of the crowd and you shouldn't be.
Tom Cruise is one of the the most superstar actors that we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I could list a bunch of Tom Cruise movies that are fantastic. I mean, even Jerry Maguire. some great lines in that one. I just saw Collateral the other day. Collateral, he plays to play a bad guy. He's great in that too. But I don't think... Are you going to say Top Gun is Tom Cruise's best movie? Nobody's saying that.
I'm saying that when that movie came out, he was at the peak of his powers.
But that doesn't make it his best movie.
No, he's been in lots of good movies.
I'm going to end the podcast. I don't think I can talk to you anymore.
You're going to end it?
I'm just going to end it. I'm just going to wrap it up. I'm just going to go watch... I'm going to go rewatch Top Gun right now and just start the podcast over 2 hours from here.
Well, don't watch Top Gun and get all mad at yourself. Just go watch Spider-Man and have a good time.
Oh man, I feel like I'm being mocked for liking a childish show. When Top Gun is way more
A little bit.
childish. It's way more childish.
How is it childish?
It's cheap laughs.
I'm still not getting the cheap laughs part of it. It's not a comedy. It's a drama.
Is it?
Yes.
All right.
It's an action movie.
Sure. And so is Fast and Furious.
Yeah. It's got The Rock in it. He is a superstar actor.
That's playing to my argument. That's not helping you. Actually, they were talking about that on The Ringer the other day. Do you think The Rock ever actually gets into a very like serious role? Like, who can you? Where could you give him like an actual like acting movie? Like, is there any director that could actually give him a chance? Like, could you imagine him in like a Scorsese movie?
I think it's a little bit is just like inevitable of just a guy like him that has had kind of success wherever he goes. I'm sure that he likes to. I know that he likes to challenge himself, and so I think that just at some point it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that I think the talk of, well, he's just the size of the Hulk. Like, yep, for sure. But I think that there'll come a point in his career where, almost like a football player, when he's done and he's just done with the I'm gonna eat a crazy amount of calories every day and work out like a madman. It's like I'm gonna like slim down, get more like I'm just that's not the life I'm looking to live anymore. So he looks more like a average sized person, and I think that for sure he'll do a serious role. I mean, what successful actor hasn't at some point gone like super serious?
well, I don't know if every actor's had the kind of the opportunities that he's had. I mean, I imagine he said yes to everything like he should have, and there's nothing super wrong with that. But I do think he's grown. I mean, he's not the same WWE wrestler entertainer that he was. He's become a little bit more of an actor. I will give him some credit. But when does he stop making Top Gun movies and start making something real?
I think it's tricky too, because then you go off and a lot of times those quote real movies don't make any money. So it could be a financial decision of I'm gonna keep making movies that are making me a bunch of money, and making TV shows on HBO for more of a like, okay, yeah, I'm doing HBO. I'm a little more fancier, I guess. I guess Ballers really isn't fancy at all.
Well, Ballers is again playing into I think the exact character the thing is, I don't think he's that person at all in real life, and it's funny that, or maybe he is. I don't know. I don't know him on a personal level, but it's funny that he won't ever get the chance to play the person I think he is in real life, which is just a really smart, genuinely dedicated, hardworking guy. And yet he plays like this meathead on almost every other show and every movie. But I don't know. I'd like to see him in something different. I think that'd be fun.
What would you like to see him in? Can create this.
I want him to be
flesh this out a little more.
I want him to be the new Top Gun guy. I want him to replace Tom Cruise.
Well, you can't do that.
Why
They're
not?
already making the new movie, and it's already been decided. He's not gonna fit in a fighter pilot or in a fighter plane.
Just get a bigger plane. They get him a bigger car. He's the only one of the truck in Fast and Furious.
I don't think you understand how planes work versus trucks, but I get the general idea.
Oh, now we need to be authentic to gravity and all of its rules. Now we need to play by the laws of physics all of a sudden in a movie like Top Gun. Yeah.
They're using real planes.
That was the best part of the movie.
Look it up.
That was the best part of that movie.
Yeah.
It's probably the only good part of the movie.
Yeah, they're using yeah, but no, flesh out. What would be your ideal serious role that you would like to see him play?
See, I really don't think it could be a movie. It would be fun if it was a movie, but I think he'd have a better shot at doing almost like a special, like if he was just a character on like a Black Mirror episode or even what's the new Twilight Zone, like an episode of something like that. I think it would be better to see him in kind of that element.
So
rather than a whole movie.
What you want to do is take arguably the most successful actor, for sure the highest paid actor in recent times, and make him a sixth man.
It
You
doesn't
want him
have to
coming
be.
off the bench.
It doesn't have to be a six man. I think it would be
Well,
fun
you
to see
say it's
him.
like a secondary role. That means he's
No,
not
he
the
could be
he's
the
not on the
he could
start.
be the he could be the main character of those shows. I mean, these are all one-off shows. I just think a whole movie might be hard, and I think a show that's already got some direction will make it a little bit easier for him to fit in. To be like, all right, it's this type of show. This is the type of things that are supposed to happen, and it would already kind of write half of it for you already, versus writing an entirely serious, an entire serious role on a movie. I think it would hard to get that ball rolling without it turning into a Hollywood movie. There's no movie that they're going to attach The Rock to for the next 10 years that isn't going to turn into this superstar Hollywood over the top movie. I think with a show that's already got an understanding of being somewhat serious, he could slide into a role and actually show some of his acting chops, or if he has any. Now, I'm not saying he's doing this for the money. I'm saying he's doing this to show I'm more than just a meathead.
But do you want that as a consumer?
I think I would like to see him try. I could immediately regret it if it ended up being really bad. I mean, yeah, maybe he isn't capable of that. I just think it feels like there's something in him that he's capable of, and that he's just kind of taking the easy way out, even though nobody else could take the way he's going right now. If that makes any sense at all. Like, I'm not giving him career advice here.
I just don't know if anybody wants that. Like, we have serious actors for a reason. We have big badass dudes for a reason, and no one's.
All right. Well,
I don't think you gotta always like mix the streams up. It's like, hey, you're good at what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's fine.
All right. Yeah. You're right. You're right there. I'm just asking for something a little different. I think it would be entertaining to see something different. All right,
Tom. You don't want to see Jumanji 2 and San Andreas 2?
Well, I mean, look how long it took for Top Gun to have him come up with a second movie. Tom Cruise has been a little busy making other movies in between.
Yep, some other stuff. Mission Impossible, a whole mess of them.
I don't know if I would have started with Mission Impossible, but yeah, they're movies. He's in them.
That's the first one that came to mind.
Ooh, I
couldn't think of the one that he was just in that was in space. Was that Interstellar, or do I have that confused? There's been a few space ones I've gotten confused. I've got them all mixed together.
I think you have that one confused, but
yeah.
Show Me the Money, I feel like, is always the first thing that comes to mind.
Really? Jerry Maguire didn't really do it for me.
I don't think it's his best movie either. I just think
I think it's a similar thing to what you're saying. I saw it later and like knew like those lines, and then I was just kind of watching the movie, waiting for the lines, and
I do really watch it for that. I watch it for those scenes.
It's got kind of the crazy wide receiver, and there's just it was like a character at the time, but like it's like I've lived through like T.O. and Ocho Cinco are just like so far in the rearview mirror right now.
Well, did you see Entourage before?
It feels super dated.
Did you watch Entourage before watching that movie?
Yes.
All right, so that might. It's almost like you spoiled it. Like you saw how the sausage was made, kind of.
Yeah, that's probably why I've watched a more modern, like, kind of take on the general idea of an agent. And
that's what they're trying to do, and I think they do it to a certain degree very well. And then Entourage is like, all right, we'll do it even more, and maybe turn it up by 100, and then add some actual cameos in here, and it'll feel even more, kind of complete.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, should we just continue talking about Tom Cruise? Should it just be the Tom Cruise podcast?
I don't think I got a lot of Tom Cruise hot takes left. We could try though, if you want to try to softball one in there for me.
So I think I've only taken so many shots at Top Gun.
Seems like you're just digging yourself into a hole just for no reason.
Everyone knows what I mean, all right, and I think a lot more people have an understanding of. There's a lot more closeted Top Gun haters than I think you're underestimating us. Nobody will say it, but we're out there.
You guys just all in the closet together,
we're all
hating
hidden.
Top Gun.
There's there's a lot of people in this closet here.
Yeah, I was gonna say you and R. Kelly, but
Oh no, don't do that. I don't think
there's
I
a
want
whole
that.
different meaning in the past couple of years.
No, I don't think I want that association.
Unfortunately,
I'd rather be in
yeah.
Top Gun. Oh man.
Got Danger Zone in it, man.
It plays like 6 times. I love the song, but come on.
Not enough. Not enough.
The entire movie is like it's like an uncut music video filming set. Like it's like this is just all the raw video. Let's just keep filming and just play this song over it because we don't have another song. It's like they couldn't afford the rights to any other song.
I can't wait till you have to write the description of this podcast. It's gonna be Tom Cruise, Top Gun, Spiderman. What do you guys talk about? That doesn't make any sense.
It's gonna be fun. It'll be great if this is the podcast that takes off. Like, we've been busting our ass off, grinding for 5 years since 2015, doing these every Wednesday at 3:00, and this is the one. This is gonna take us off. Late summer right now. Not even early enough for an Oktoberfest, and this is going to be the show that takes off.
Yeah, gets these Thursday podcasts. They're rare. They get us a little loopy.
While we're on the topic of some, I guess let's transition to some HBO. Did you watch Hard Knocks? Did you see Hard Knocks last night?
Sure did.
Do you want to talk? All right, we could talk. There's like 3 things I could talk about at Hard Knocks. We talk Antonio Brown.
Right.
John Gruden and Frank Caliendo, and I don't really want to talk all 3 of them, so kind of just pick one there, and let's go with it.
Let's start with Antonio Brown.
All right, is this helmet thing? Is this over? What is the real? I really wanted to give the guy some benefit of the doubt that he's like, all right, he's a successful receiver. He's had this helmet. I can't keep up with anything in this story anymore. I don't know if he's trying to stay in the news and he's worried that he's going to somehow fall out of the news, like he has to always be the top headline because he wants to be the top receiver. I don't know. I don't know what happened to this guy. I don't remember him being this self-centered. Or maybe it's just now that there's more microphones in his face that we're hearing it more often. I don't know. But this feels like a ticking time bomb to me now. Is this ever going to work?
I think it's going to work. 2 weeks ago, I thought this was an awesome story. I thought this was just the best of, here's just a nonsense preseason football story, just something to kind of tide us over. And it's like, this will go for like a half a week, and then either one of these sides is going to cave, and either the NFL is going to go, okay, fine, your decision, you sign off and say, hey, this is a dangerous helmet, but I'm going to wear it, cool. Or the NFL comes in and says, hey, we're really not messing around, you have to wear the new helmet, and this was going to go away. And it was like, but that'll get us like a little closer to football. But now it's gone on for 2 weeks. And especially now, we're having preseason games. We have Hard Knocks. It's like, I don't need this superfluous story anymore. It's like, just wrap this up. Whatever's going to happen, wrap it up. And it was even on last night's episode of Hard Knocks that it went from, hey, he's filing an appeal to try to make this happen, went through the whole, he's reaching out on Twitter trying to find it, to, okay, he's going to show up at the game. He shows up at the game, and then by the end of the episode, he's not at practice anymore because the NFL kind of changed their mind a little bit, and he's upset about it. And so it went the whole gambit. It's just like, all right, I think I'm right with the owner of, all right, we're getting close now. It's no more messing around. It's like, okay, now we're getting into real football. Is going to start in a couple of weeks. Time to start actually playing. Time to really figure out this helmet situation and just.
I don't think I've ever been. I just want this guy to play. I just want him to play already, just so we don't ever. Can we just start talking about how good he is again, rather than all of this? Anything but this. I think this guy getting hurt was the worst thing that could have ever happened in the NFL. If I'm the NFL, I want this guy to pass every concussion protocol just so he's always on the field. This just feels like he causes a lot less drama when he's just on the field. Like, how do we get him signed up for a team that just plays all year? I want him to play every Sunday. I don't want him ever to have any free time. This is the kind of stuff that happens.
No free time?
Free time. I don't want this guy to have any free time.
There's got to be something against that in the contract.
I'm sure the players union has something
against
that. I'm over it. I don't think I've ever flipped on a guy so much, and it feels like a lot of people have. He's not he wasn't the tallest receiver. I don't think he was drafted super high. I think he's always been a predominantly favored receiver. Like a lot of people knew he was good. But man, this ego, man. Whew. How you played football?
Is it an ego thing? Is it an ego thing, or is it like he actually? It's like this is the helmet he's comfortable in, and this is what he feels comfortable wearing when he goes to work. He's never gotten hurt with it, and I mean, I think it's because he hasn't got hit in the right way, and clearly the NFL is going through the hoops to make sure that these helmets and the equipment is safe, and they're trying to protect themselves from further lawsuits than the ones they've already had. Is it an ego thing, or is it more along those lines?
I only played one sport where I had to wear a helmet, and I never really. I'll be honest, I never thought to even complain about it. I just said, all right, this is how helmets fit. This is how your view is. This is what it looks like. How different can everything be? I just can't imagine the differences being that much. I almost feel like he's looking out for an excuse that he's not going to be that good this year, and that this helmet could be something he could use for it. And then his desperation to fight for this is almost proving that more. Like if he doesn't get his helmet and he stinks this year, well, he's going to kind of have an escape. And I just wonder how authentic is that reason actually? Like what is the actual strength of that argument to be like, oh, well, if I had my helmet, man, I would have gave you, 5,000 yards.
I was wondering that in the past week or so, it's just like as a veteran of, you know what, preseason just sucks. I'm gonna be fine. I'm super fast. I'm gonna be good. I'll be fine figuring things out with the quarterback. With Derek Carr. I don't want to go to practice all the time. I'm just gonna have this whole thing, and then right beforehand, I'll figure it out, and then I'll play. And it's just a way to just not have to deal with the bullshit of preseason.
Well, don't you think there'd be easier ways to get out of this? Like just any other reason of this. Like this just seems so. I guess different, and that's my biggest problem. Is that we've never had somebody argue this before. We've never had helmets be like reevaluated and then be restricted off that. I don't think we've ever had equipment suddenly be not allowed anymore. So there is a bit of a 2019 change in all of this, but.
Well, one of the things that he's upset about is he wasn't really given any warning. Tom Brady and there's somebody else, I can't remember the other name, were given a heads up a year in advance that, hey, the helmet you're wearing is no good. This is the last year you're going to be able to wear this. And so kind of gave him some time. So I think it might be more just like a principled thing of he's just a little upset the way the NFL is treating him of, okay, you just kind of up out of nowhere just said I couldn't wear my helmet anymore. I've been wearing this for 9 years. I'm comfortable with it. Okay, now I got to change it. All right, what else can I do? And they're like, oh, well, actually, if you find the same helmet that's less than 10 years old, yeah, we'll take a look at it. And then they found the helmet, and then they failed the helmet. So I'm sure he feels like you're giving me these hoops to jump through. I'm jumping through these hoops, and you're not, like, working with me at all. So I think maybe that's some of his frustration.
I don't know. I'm finding it really hard to be on his team, and I'm normally somebody who kind of supported him outright no matter what. I mean, I was a fantasy owner of him. We definitely have at least 2 championships together. Maybe we're very close. And then I had to keep somebody else in my keeper league, and we were never teammates again, and it's never felt the same. And now, man, he's just
how that worked out for you.
Completely changed individual, man. He went to he's in a different sphere now. What do you think? What do you think? You're better than me? We got about 10 minutes left of the podcast here, and you know what I just remembered we didn't do, other than our Top Gun memorial earlier. We didn't do any. Zach sets the record straight. So do you have that already ready to go? You want to run into that?
I am all set for that.
All right, so let's get some game show music going here. Apparently, it's been quiet in the previous podcast, so I'm going to try and play a little bit louder.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so game show time. Zach sets the record straight. Zach is about to tell me 3 Guinness World Records. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is false. And the way the game goes is that he's going to explain them all to us, and I'm going to guess which ones are which. So without further ado, Zach, what do we got this week? What is the first Guinness World Record?
First one we have is a Kenyan chef cooks for 50 hours straight to break the record.
50
You got
hours.
a cooking one. 50 hours. Second one, stunt rider breaks record for fastest motorcycle headstand going 76 miles per hour.
76?
Right, so we got a cooking one, and we got a stunt rider, and then the last one, we have a 103-year-old skydiver leaps to world record. I think that one's self-explanatory.
All right.
So we have cooking, we have headstand on a motorcycle, and we have skydiving. Some of your favorite things.
76 miles per hour headstand. I'm scared just hearing about that. I'm more scared about that than the 103-year-old jumping out the sky. The 103-year-old got, he got 103 years. He, I think he knows what he's getting into when he jumps. 50 hours of cooking straight though. That honestly seems like the false one off the top for me, which it seems crazy because the other one are just too adrenaline junky. Like the other two seem like they'd be in Top Gun. I'll go with the first one. I'll say the first one is false. I don't think somebody would cook for that long. This doesn't sound like fun for one. So I'll say that 50 hours straight of cooking is false.
Okay, you're correct again. So
hot streak. Hot streak.
Two in a row. What do you think the record is for longest time cooking straight?
I'll say 24. I think somebody could do it for 24. Again, that sounds... 18 is probably like a more realistic number, but I'll say 24.
No, you are amazingly wrong, and I clearly just picked the wrong number to mess with. The guy cooked for 75 straight hours.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah, I did not see that coming. Way to set the record straight. Jesus.
Completed 400 individual recipes.
Wow. Did not see that coming.
The previous record was 69 hours.
Was he cooking anything
So
in particular? Like, was he just, flipping pancakes and burgers for like 70 hours? Or is this full restaurant service being
400
operated?
unique recipes during the record attempt, including both local and international cuisine. Her dishes included more than 10 types of pizza, and her signature dish, Korean chicken.
Interesting. I wonder, like, how much does like proofing count? Like if you made a dough.
Oh, and listen to this. For every 12 hours, she got a break for 30 minutes, right? Remember that guy that was just sitting on the toilet? I think he got more breaks than that.
Are you asking for sympathy, or are you saying this is not a truly authentic record, that this half hour is
No, I'm saying that guy that was sitting on the toilet was already taking too many breaks to use the actual bathroom, and here's this woman that every 12 hours got a lunch break.
Do you think she ate any of the food? That sounds like, I feel like the food would slow you down, but then you need some energy to keep it going.
I'm thinking that she didn't sit down and have a meal, but I'm sure as a cook does, or a chef does, is like you're tasting things as you go.
Was there anything in the story about where the food went to after? Like, was this served or donated or just like?
I mean, it must have been.
I don't know. I just wonder what was this for a good cause or something? I don't know.
Doesn't really mention that so much.
No, so probably not. I don't know. If I'm cooking 70 hours straight, I'm kind of hoping that I'm not just doing this for the record, and that the leftover of all of this will go to something. Like, I'm not just. I like to think that if you're going to cook for 70 hours straight, you're going to have some sort of idea of what all the food you're going to make in 70 hours is going to go to.
Yeah, no, nothing specific on like any sort of event that it was for or anything like that. Just that broke the record.
You think I could break that? Think I could cook for 70 hours? That sounds like an expensive grocery list, honestly.
No, you thought the best person in the world could only cook for 24 hours, so I don't think you could do it for 3 times that.
I bet I could do 24
Over
hours.
3 times that.
I wouldn't want to, though.
Maybe 24 hours, but I don't think you could do it for 75.
I don't really have a whole lot of interest
And a
in
half.
that. I don't know. Shout out to anyone who does.
Don't you think you just get bored? Just like trying to figure out. It's like, okay,
immediately.
I've made all of my go-tos. I've made my like backup to my go-tos. Now what?
Even some of the longest recipes, like some of the recipes I cook regularly that take a long time, man, that doesn't add up long enough. I mean, even just like a slow cooking something in the in the slow cooker, or even if you had like a pressure cooker, it's like, all right, so at most that's taking 1 hour to 6 hours, and that's pretty far off of 70 hours. It's not like you made up some of the chunk of it. We'll just add a couple of these together, a couple 10-hour slow cookers. Like, no, that doesn't do it. That's not enough.
And even if you're just more casual, like the stuff you're cooking is casual, where it's not super intense the whole time. You're not doing Top Chef or something like that, where it's time and you're running all over the place. Even just like casual, you just like making dinner regularly, to do that for that long, like that's a lot of time on your feet.
I will say that is
cooking, like just working in a kitchen takes a lot out of you.
That would be a habit that I think you would have to change, and I assume this person did change. Is that traditionally any restaurant or any experienced cook, you're trying to get the prep work done as soon as possible. I mean, your knife skills, you go through an onion in half a second if you're good at it. But in this case, I wonder if you do you milk it a little bit, very very full chops and slow motion kind of, or do you just dice it as fast as you can and then on to the next one? Like, I kind of want to know what pace they were working at. Did they take their time doing all that? Like, when they're grating their cheese, are they, were they flexing their whole arm up and down, or was this just like a gentle glide up and down to stall some time?
I mean, it was 400 recipes.
That's a lot of recipes.
So that's over 5 an hour. So I'm thinking if she was making pizza, it didn't mean prep the pizza, put it in the oven, stood around. I think it means it was prep the pizza, put it in the oven, and work on something else while that was in the oven cooking.
Well, anyways, what's my record now? How am I doing? We're gonna have to rename the game. I think I'm starting to set the record straight. I don't even know why we're asking you questions. I'm gonna just start telling answers.
Yeah, you're just picking them out like a sniper. I gotta get better.
Oh man. Well, we'll be back next week. Zach Sets the Record Straight happens every podcast. You can listen to every podcast on our website, lcalcb.com. And make sure to check out Zach's Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
Get caught up on everything he's watching and what's going on in his life. Lots of good stuff on there. Bit of a wild podcast. A lot of... I generally have a lot...
We learned a lot about each other.
Yeah, this is the last podcast.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was like, that might be the last one.
This is it.
Had a good run.
Yeah, I had a good run. It's the columns are broken. The columns fell down.
They fell into each other and broke in half.
Too much of one thing. We didn't have a little of either of them. Oh man, this podcast won't end. This is the one that's never gonna end. But I'm playing the outro music. That's I don't know what else to remind people. What do you want to tell the people?
We were kind of dancing around HBO in the Rock, but Ballers does come back on Sunday, so I'm excited for that.
And do you think he'll win an award for this season?
I don't think so. I don't think it's an award type of thing. And also speaking of HBO, watched Righteous Gemstones and Pilot. Kind of wild. Definitely looking forward to seeing what they do with the rest of the season.
No, I can't wait for that. I'm saving that. I don't think I can handle myself by just watching one episode. I want to watch 2 of them. I don't know. We'll see if I can be patient till next Sunday.
Good luck.
I don't know. That is a hell of a cast, and it's HBO, and it just seems like a money concept of having 3 established funny guys in an HBO series play like a semi-religious juxtaposed kind of role, and I don't know. I have high expectations for it. But we'll see. My expectations are rarely met. You know, it could end up being a Top Gun for all I know.
Who knows?
I'm just gonna try and fit it in as many times. I feel like if I say it enough times, I won't have to say it again. And,
I don't think that's how it works.
And maybe I'll like Top Gun by the next podcast if I just keep saying how much I didn't like it today. But we'll be back Wednesdays at 3. Listen on the website. Little column A, little column B.
Little column A, little column B.